Yes, please. What's going on, guys? Benji Boy here, and I'm here with the first episode of the Woolly Sports Cast, where I talk about sport, basically, pretty much. Coming up in today's show, we've got Super Rugby Round 5 review. We've got Lakers missing the playoffs already in the NBA. But first we go to Ireland, where they just this morning, the New Zealand time, 16th of March, this morning the Irish won the Six Nations title to give Brian O'Driscoll probably the greatest send-off a European player can have without winning a World Cup, I suppose. England win the Six Nations title. They give Brian O'Driscoll a perfect send-off, just like I said. It's the first time they've won the tournament since 2000. Ireland have sort of been ranked around around 8 throughout the last 10 or so years. They've always been an underachieving side. It was a brilliant weekend of rugby this weekend, with 3 teams in the Six Nations potentially being able to win it, both England, Wales and Ireland. All 3 teams won, but Ireland's points differential got them through in the end. And this week we had round 5 of the Super Rugby. Now this round was a bit different to the last 4 rounds. The last 4 rounds have been really sort of slow pace, not very high scoring. But this round was completely different. This round I don't think anyone scored below 10-15 points. It was really high scoring weekend. And I start with the wrap up of the weekend sport with the Chiefs versus the Stormers on Friday night. The Chiefs overcoming the Stormers 36-20. Stormers were never really in it. The Chiefs dominated territory and possession. Some notable stats: 15 to 5 offloads to 15 offloads for the Chiefs, 5 to the Stormers, which it proves that the Chiefs are playing a lot more running, attacking rugby. Chiefs had 15 clean breaks to the Stormers 8, which proved a lot of go forward, and they had a lot of momentum with them. And also Chiefs missing 15 tackles and the Stormers missing 33, which is a big difference, and that can be sort of put with the Chiefs line breaks and clean breaks, and the amount of defending the Stormers actually had to do. As I said, they didn't have much possession during the entire game. The Chiefs had more attacking style, with only 19 kicks compared to the Stormers 22. Even with the Stormers' lack of possession, they still kicked it more than the Chiefs, which has proved they like to run the ball and they wanted to counter-attack more. However, the Chiefs' line-out's still struggling. The set piece is still struggling, only winning 71% of the line-out, which is not good enough with All Black lock Brody Retallick and Matt Simmons. That's the one area of weakness, I'd say, for the Chiefs. Their set piece of the past couple of weeks has probably let them down a bit. And the Stormers' set piece is probably the best part of the game, actually. They did not lose a line-out. They won all of their lineouts, 100% of them, and they stole, don't quote me, I think about 3 or 4 lineouts. Game 2, the Crusaders versus the Rebels. Now, the Crusaders this season have not looked good at all. They're not like a Crusaders team of in the past, where the Crusaders, they're kind of they've got no attacking. They're struggling to finish. Like, they can make breaks and get go forward ball, but they just can't finish. They can't seem to finish. That was the case against the Chiefs in round 1. The Stormers last week, they just scraped through with a victory there. But this game, the Crusaders against the Rebels, Crusaders is coming out on top 25-19. It's a very even tit-for-tat battle. Stats were actually near on identical, but the Rebels conceding 3 more penalties, which were in a better kicking range. and the Crusaders took those opportunities and converted 2 of them, which is the 6 points that the Rebels lost by. So that's pretty much it. This third game here, Hurricanes Cheetahs. The final score was 60-27 to the Hurricanes. Now, when you hear that, you think, "Holy shit, that's fucking a thumping." But the game was not as one-sided as the score suggests. It was very, very fast-paced game, end-to-end stuff. The Hurricanes actually converted on the opportunities they got, unlike the previous weeks. They had probably 4 handling errors, which was incredible compared to what they've had last week. The last couple of weeks, they've just struggled so much, and that relieves the pressure on Mark Hammett. It was close. The game was close until about the 60th minute, where a yellow card to the Cheetahs fullback Willie LaRue for a intentional knockdown resulted in a yellow card, and then the Hurricanes pretty much just piled on the points after that, and they get a good win to celebrate Conrad Smith's 100th game for the franchise. It's taken him 10 years, which shows he has he's been in and out with injury a lot, as that's only an average about 10 games a season. He's been in and out with injury, and before there was an international break in Super Rugby with the All Blacks as well. He's played 70 tests for the All Blacks, so that shows that he has been injured or preoccupied during Super Rugby season. And a good win for the Hurricanes, and that'll relieve some pressure on Mark Hammett and the team, well, for this week anyway. And next week they go up against the Highlanders down at Forsyth Bar, which should be a bloody good game. Now the fourth game on Saturday night, the Highlanders against the Force. The Western Force actually winning 31-29. This might maybe the Western Force season. They've had 2 really good wins the past 2 weeks. This could be the year, like the Western Force. They could be doing what the Cheetahs did last year and actually have a coming out year and have their first decent playoff run or good go at getting into the playoffs and being up in contention. Where the Western Force have, since 2006, they haven't made the playoffs once, so that's pretty poor. But the Highlanders, they dominated all of the stats, but they just couldn't finish. They couldn't finish what they got going. They spent about, if I can remember correctly, it was about 15 minutes in the Western Force 22 throughout the game. That's too much to not win. Honestly, the Western Force only spent around 6 minutes in the Highlanders 22, so it's a big difference there. And it was just a few defensive lapses that cost the Highlanders. The Western Force were down to 13 men with 8 minutes to play. A tip tackle resulted in a yellow card, and also repeat infringements around the ruck caused two players to get sent off for yellow. And then when they were down to 13 men, there was 8 minutes to go, and the Hurricanes needed 10. Was it 10 or 7? It was 7 points to tie it up, and they went for the scrum because they were the 2 players that got sent off were both forwards, so they had a good a big advantage in the scrums. But the Highlanders, they just showed no urgency. They were just casual. The last 8 minutes, they just didn't show any urgency in getting to the scrum, getting the scrum set. When they had a line out, they just walked to the line out, which is, with the game on the line, it's just poor, and it's just showing a lack of effort, really. And this is one of the reasons that is why, in my opinion, the Highlanders lost that game, was because they were just too casual that last 8 minutes when they had a 2-man advantage. And then the next game in the weekend was the Brumbies against the Waratahs in Canberra. This game it was a scrappy Australian derby. You know, the Australian derbies are sort of a bit shit. The Australian teams aren't the greatest rugby teams. There's a scrappy Australian derby. The Brumbies had all the momentum in the first half, and then it sort of fell off in the last 20 minutes. The last 20 minutes, actually, to be fair, they basically played with 14 men the whole 20 minutes because the second half there's no real discipline at the rucks and the mauls for the Brumbies, and just repeat infringements at the ruck caused the referee to deal with the problem himself. He gave out 2 yellow cards. He gave out one in about the 60th minute, and then another one in the 72nd minute. So that basically meant the Brumbies were down to 14 men in the last 20 minutes, and they did survive a Waratahs fight back with Israel Folau scoring a beautiful try in the corner with about 3 or 4 minutes to go. The score was 20. That brought the score to 23-25, and then the Brumbies went down the field and hit a penalty goal. I think I can't remember. I did watch this game, but I can't remember. And then that was pretty much game, set, and match. Now the first Southern game in South Africa this weekend was the Blues versus the Lions. The Lions were dominant in the first half and scored majority of points. It was 26 at half time. The score was 26 at half time, like I said, and then in the second half there was just an absolute mountain of points piled on by both teams. It's pretty much just end-to-end try. The final score ended up being 36-39, with the Lions coming out on top in that game, and that is the first time the Lions franchise has beaten the Blues, I think, in about 7 years, or if ever. I need to check my facts a bit better. But and then the final game of the weekend, the Reds against the Sharks. The Reds coming out on top, 32-17. The Sharks had 9 more turnovers than the Reds, which shows the Reds couldn't hang on to the ball, but they capitalised when it counted. They got the points when they were down in the Sharks' half. The Sharks were definitely a more dominant team, but obviously they couldn't convert, unlike the Reds, where they did. And the Reds also showed a lack of discipline. They committing 8 more penalties than the Sharks, which is the Sharks coaching staff will not be happy with the fact that they can get beaten conceding 8 less penalties than the opposition. That was pretty. It's not a very good sign for the Sharks if you can't even beat a team that gives 8 more penalties than you guys, and you are the dominant team. That's the round 5 done for the 2014 Super Rugby season. All in all, it was a like I said at the start, it was a very, very high scoring game, and a high scoring round. Sorry, and then maybe this is a sign to come for games in the future for Super Rugby. Maybe this season, maybe we've gotten rid of the days of 1 try games, and maybe it's going to be high scoring tempo from the rest of for the rest of the season. We'll have to wait and see. And now the final thing I'd like to talk about here is the Los Angeles Lakers NBA team. They are the first team in the 2014 season to officially miss the playoffs. Yep, they beat the Philadelphia 76ers to be in contention for the playoffs. Now, the 76ers, they're not going to fucking make this. They're not going to make the playoffs. They've lost, I believe, 19 or 20 straight, and that's just shocking. The 76ers are pretty much tanking. They're tanking for Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker, one of those real good one-and-done college players. But, yeah, and I'm not sure how Kobe Bryant is going to feel about this. He's the other day, they just announced that he will no longer play in the rest of the season at all. His injury being too bad. And then the day after, Steve Nash announced that he will not be available for the rest of the season either. This, yeah, this the and he also announced, Steve Nash, that he will play next season. A lot of a lot of LA fans do not want him to play next season, but he basically said he wants to do it for the money. Fair enough. Who blames him? It's pretty much a free 10 mil. The Lakers just offered an absolute stupid contract to him. They gave him an absolutely stupid contract, and he'll be 41. If I'm correct, he'll be 41 years of age next season, and that'll probably be his last, and possibly even Kobe Bryant's last. I think he's only contracted for next season. So, and with Steve Nash playing, that's a lot next season. That's a lot of money tied up through cap space. So they may not be able to make the moves they want to this off season. But I think they're trying to target the 2015 off season, where Kevin Love and Russell Westbrook are free agents, of course, and because Kevin Love, I think he grew up in California. I know he went to UCLA with Russell Westbrook, so maybe he may want to go back to LA. But with the New York Knicks signing Phil Jackson to be the president of basketball, I do believe there, maybe that may mean that the Knicks can attract some more high quality players to New York, because it does not at all Carmelo Anthony is going to stay in New York, which is a good and bad thing. It means the New York Knicks can get a fresh start, sort of. They've got a lot of money, a lot of stupid money tied up in tied up because of the contracts of J.R. Smith and Amari Stoudemire, and just stupid contracts that they should never have given players. And this year they are paying for it dearly with poor results and basically just playing like shit. Anyway, guys, that's been the Woolly Sports Cast. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.